Well, things are starting to slow down over here at the Bargain Game Hunter HQ. But we have some interesting new pickups, including some Switch 2 games, some other new releases, and something I'm kind of curious about from GameStop. It's the Bargain Game Hunter. So we are officially in September of 2025. And September is honestly one of my favorite months of the year for a few reasons. The Never Ending Pasta Bowl is back at Olive Garden. Lots of big name games start to come out in September. The weather gets a little bit better, at least down here in Florida, where it drops from 90 degrees every day or 90 plus degrees to maybe in the 80s, which is kind of nice, and sometimes the 70s in the evenings. And of course, it's spooky season, which I'm a big fan of, especially going to like Halloween Horror Nights at Universal. As you can tell, I'm a big theme park guy. So there's a lot of stuff going on, and because there's a lot of stuff going on, my game hunting is going to slow down a bit because I need to allocate funds to other things besides games. That's not to say I'm not going to pick up games, because I certainly picked up a few. Yeah, that's so. Just an FYI, you're not going to see quite as many episodes, I think, based in September, just because I'm doing other stuff. But anyway, I already have some pickups, and I got a few more at the end of the week, so we'll go over those when they come in. Let's start off with, I believe, Amazon? No, this was GameStop. I picked this up when it came out, and this was the other game that I had. I traded in towards the Switch 2 because it was worth a lot more in trading credit, with the intent that eventually I will just buy the Switch 2 version. And so I did that. Now I have Kirby and the Forgotten Land plus the Star-Crossed Worlds expansion on the Switch 2. I didn't actually play Kirby and the Forgotten Land. I wanted to, but I never got around to it. So now I can play it, but with this expansion. I've heard kind of mixed things about the expansion. That seems to be the trend lately. The Mario Party Jamboree expansion did not get great reviews. And then Kirby and the Forgotten Land, the expansion, didn't get amazing reviews either. So far, it seems like Nintendo is kind of botching the Switch 2 expansions, which is unfortunate for those of us who have a Switch 2. But, you know, still a nice addition to the collection. I didn't pay entirely out of pocket for this. I think I had a little bit of credit on it, so that's something. But, you know, glad to add to the Switch 2 collection. Let me get a couple more games. These are both from Amazon. This one I was just curious about because the concept is really funny. I'm normally not one to play these types of games, but again, the concept for this is just so bizarre, I had to grab it. Date Everything on the Switch. Now, if you don't know what this is, essentially, it's one of those like cheesy dating sim games, except for you move into a house and you can essentially date any object in your house. And so you scan an object and it becomes a character. It's just weird. That's an odd concept. I think it's hilarious. So I wanted to pick this up. Plus it's like a $35 game, so it's not like a super expensive one. But yeah, this is one of those games where like the concept is so bizarre, I had to pick it up. And then there's this. And this I think is fairly relevant. I am going to do a separate video on this on the channel, so be on the lookout for that. But this is pretty cool. This is the first special edition game. I believe it is the first special edition game that's even come out on the Switch 2. And most importantly, it is not a Game Geek card. It is on chip. Now, the unfortunate part about this is I have not played the first game, and I need to do so. First game's kind of hard to find, to be honest. I've been on the lookout for it over the past few months because I knew I was getting this. I haven't found it, so I'm probably going to have to do some digging to find the first game. But still excited to add this to the collection. We have Daemon X Machina Titanic Scion on the Switch 2. Now, this did come out on Xbox and PlayStation, so it is the first time this game has been multi-platform. But the first game is Switch only. I figured I can get it on cart on the Switch 2. And if we're being completely honest, if a game is on cart on the Switch 2, I'm probably going to go with that just because I do want to support on cart games on Switch 2. So, but yeah, this is the big box special edition. It's got some extra goodies in it. I will unbox it later on the channel, but pretty excited to add that to collection. Then there's this. So I have a little story for this one. So if you might recall, a few episodes ago, I did an episode where I ordered a whole bunch of PS2 games on GameStop's website. And they sent me the vast majority of them. However, there were 3 games that apparently got lost in the mail. So I don't know what happened to them. They just kind of vanished. So I called GameStop support after about 2 weeks of waiting for them. And they told me they were going to reship them. And I'm like, okay, cool. So they came in this past week. But here's the interesting part. I got another package shortly after. Also from GameStop. I don't know what's in them. I did open one package though. So this was the one I got first. And the unfortunate part about these is all 3 of the games are loose disc. So here are my 3 PS2 games. We have Jack X Combat Racing on the PS2. We have Fantastic Four on the PS2. And we have Pirates of the Caribbean, The Legend of Captain Jack Sparrow on the PS2. So I have all those. But I also have these. So I'm wondering if they sent me the same games twice. That would be cool. Let's find out. And yes, I did pre-open them. I have not looked inside. So let's see what we got. This one, it's a generic GameStop case. Okay, this says Jack X Combat Racing. Yeah. Well, I have 2 copies of Jack X Combat Racing. Let's look at this disc real quick. Yikes. That, I don't know how well that's going to come off on camera, but yeah, you can see there's a lot of scratches on that. So that copy is terrible, but let's see if this loose disc copy is better, because if it is, I'm going to switch it out. Oh yeah, very, like, it has some scratches, but it's very light. You can kind of see them there. This is a much better copy. So I think what I'm going to do is switch out the discs on these. So this one is going back. This one is staying. Okay, so I have a generic case. It is the old GameStop case too, which is kind of nostalgic. Of Jack X. So what is this one? Are these the other 2 games? Let's find out. That's The Legend of Captain Jack Sparrow on the PS2. Complete in box. Okay. Let's look at the disc on this. Oh, that's very clean. I think we're going to stick with that one. But this one came complete. That's awesome. So I'm assuming this is Fantastic Four then. Yep. Fantastic Four. Also complete. Yep. Interesting. Okay. Let me open this. It's got some scratches on it. Let's check the other copy and see how that is. Fantastic Four. Here we go. So if this disc is better, I don't know. I think the original might be better than that one. Yeah, this one has less scratches on it. Okay. Interesting. So, it looks like GameStop made a boo-boo in my favor. It's not the first time this has happened. You might recall, I think one of the best examples of this happening was I think it was Digimon Survive. When that came out, I ordered it and they sent me the Xbox Series or Xbox One copy, which is what I ordered. And then a few days later, I got a Switch copy, which I did not order. So I just returned that. So I essentially got my copy of Digimon Survive for free. And that's exactly what's going to happen with this, because I did not order these. I did, but they sent me doubles that are loose disc. So what I'm going to try to do is return these loose disc copies to GameStop. And I think I'm only going to get credit for 2 of them because it was during the buy 2 get 1. So I think I'll get like 14 or 15 bucks back, something like that. But hey, still, essentially what that means in a nutshell is all 3 of these are free. And 2 of them are complete in box. This one's not, unfortunately, but these 2 are complete in box in pretty solid condition. So we actually did pretty well in the long run on that GameStop PS2 haul, especially because now 3 of those games are free instead of just 2, or 1 of them is. So yeah, pretty happy. We got some really solid scores, and we got a few more coming later in the week, so let's get to those. So I'm at GameStop. So I went back here because I wanted to return the loose PS2 games, and they all returned, which is great. So I figured I'd look around, and I was flabbergasted at some of the games that I found. Needless to say, I did not go into there expecting to buy a whole bunch of stuff, let alone some kind of expensive games, but I did, and I am more than happy about it, because not only are these pretty tough, well, all but one are pretty tough to find, but they're all complete, which is crazy. So the first one is Resident Evil 6 on the Xbox One. That is the last Resident Evil game that I needed on the Xbox One to have a complete set. So now I have them all until Resident Evil 9 Requiem comes out, so that's cool. It's always nice to complete a set, which is neat. Then there's these, and these are crazy. I guess I'll show the least exciting one, which to me, this one I've been looking for a long time. So the fact that I found a pre-owned one is crazy. Indiana Jones and the Great Circle, the premium edition on the Series X. And what's wild about this is, of course, this is the premium edition, so good luck trying to find this version after the game came out. Not only did I find it, it's a pre-owned copy. The code's still there. I don't know if it works. I will update everybody when I get home to see if it works. But if it does, that's a massive win. And like I've mentioned before, I've been looking for that game for a long time. It's pretty hard to find. So the fact that I found one is awesome. And then there's these 2. And these 2 are kind of nuts. When we get to the final recap, you'll see why. But yeah, these are not easy games to find. They're pretty, so when you find them, you kind of have to grab them. The first is The Legend of Heroes Trails into Reverie on the PS5. I have a number of the Trails games. I don't have this one. It is super complete. It has everything in it. It's got the art book. It's got the soundtrack code. Everything. Fantastic condition. And then the big winner, and this was one, because they had a bunch of the Trails games, interestingly enough. I had all the other ones that they had, because they had like Trails from Zero, and then the trilogy, which I already have. Cold Steel. They had Cold Steel 1, Cold Steel 2, and Cold Steel 3, which I have 1 and 2 sealed. I have 3 and 4 in a double pack. But I didn't have this one, and this one is crazy. Trails into Azure on the PS4. So as you can see, it was 44 bucks. So it's not a cheap game. It is worth so much more than that. Yeah. Needless to say, this was a massive score. All of those games are ones that, well, I mean, Indiana Jones and Resident Evil I've been looking for a while. The fact that I not only found Indiana Jones, it was the deluxe edition, which is the one I wanted anyway. And if the code works, I got a $100 Indiana Jones game, which is impossible to find now, for less than 60 bucks. And on top of that, I used my $5 code. I had $4 in reward points and my returns, which total up to 21 bucks. So when you add it all up, I did incredibly well. And then those Trails games are incredibly impressive to find. You don't find those at GameStop. You really don't. And like, I looked around, I think there were a few other kind of uncommon games, but my feeling was I already got the best stuff that I wanted, so I was happy with what I got. But man, it definitely pays to go to GameStop on a random Sunday, because these are incredible scores. All right, it is time for the final recap, and what a final recap we have. Very interesting week, mostly GameStop. Nothing wrong with that though. But we got some surprise freebies, some surprise scores, and some really good titles to add to the collection, plus a couple Switch 2 games. Pretty nice balanced week. We'll start off with Amazon. This game I picked up mostly because I just think the concept is really funny, and I wanted to get it because it sounds fun. We have Date Everything on the Switch. Yeah, good stuff. I paid $35, it's worth $35 because it just came out. Then the big score, in terms of, I guess, big, well, I mean, not even that, but the big box edition was Daemon X Machina Titanic Scion on the Switch 2. This is the first big box game to come out on the Switch 2. It's got some cool bonuses in it. I did an unboxing video if you want to check that out on the channel. It's also Marvelous Entertainment, and it features a Switch 2 game on card. So please support this game and support Marvelous if you want to support Switch 2 games on cartridge. Paid, I believe, $100 for this. Yep. Oh, $99 because I got a $1 discount from Amazon. It's worth $100. And now we go to GameStop, and these are some interesting pickups. That is for sure. We'll get to the more interesting stuff at the end, but yeah. Start off with Kirby and the Forgotten Land and the Star-Crossed World expansion on the Switch 2. I know this came out a little bit ago. This video has kind of been a compiling of pickups. I have actually slowed down quite a bit. I have some activities and stuff that require money coming up pretty quickly, so I want to make sure I save my money for that. But I am still picking up games, obviously, just not quite as many per week. But yeah, Kirby and the Forgotten Land, Star-Crossed Worlds. This was the other Switch game that I traded in to get my Switch 2, and then with the promise of getting this Switch 2 version, so now I have it. I paid $50 out of pocket plus credit, and it's worth $80. Cool. Then we have our online pickups, and these were interesting because they ended up being free, because GameStop messed up a couple times. First of all, my original batch got lost in transit, so they resent it, but apparently they resent it twice. Thanks, GameStop. So I ended up returning a set of disc-only copies, and I kept these for free. So we'll start off with Jack X Combat Racing on the PS2. Also, in case anyone was curious, yes, I did go through every single game and make sure I had the best disc as well. So I have the best disc in this one. Didn't come complete, but at least it has a case, and it is that old school GameStop case, so that's kind of nostalgic. Anyway, I paid nothing, and this is worth $9 even in loose condition, so not bad there. Then we have Fantastic Four on the PS2, just because I saw the most recent one for Steps and really liked it. It's my favorite movie of 2025 so far. I figured might as well grab the original Fantastic Four game. I've heard it's not that great, but hey, might as well, and it is complete, so we'll take that. Paid nothing, and this one is worth $9 as well. And then our last free PS2 game is Pirates of the Caribbean, The Legend of Captain Jack Sparrow on the PS2. I remember when this game came out, this was into, I think this came out in like 2006. So this was well into the Xbox 360's life, and I believe the PS3 and the Wii were about to come out, but they had to release this on PS2. So, but I don't know. I've heard it's okay. Probably not the greatest. There were 2 Pirates of the Caribbean games made by Bethesda that came out, in that era, so I wanted to figure try them out. So, but anyway, there you go. Paid nothing, and this one is worth $6. Yeah, so it's not worth that much. And then we got these, and these were by far the highlights of the week. I went to GameStop randomly because I wanted to return my 3 PS2 doubles so I could get essentially these 3 for free. And I found a number of games in stock that I was absolutely shocked by. One of them I just needed for my collection, and then the other 3, yeah, we'll just get to those. So let's start off with Resident Evil 6 on the Xbox One. This is the final physical Resident Evil game that I needed for my collection on Xbox One/Series X. I now have every single physical Resident Evil game on this platform/platforms. So that's cool. Did I need all of them physically? No, because I actually have, I think, them all digitally as well, but I wanted it, so there you go. This one I paid $1 and out of pocket because I did my return, and it's actually worth $15. So there you go. And then there's these, and these were literally games where I went through the GameStop shelves and I looked up these games because I heard they were kind of valuable. One of them I didn't need to look up because I was going to get it regardless. But yeah, 2 of them I had to look up, and oh boy, I did well. We'll start off with Legend of Heroes Trails into Revelry on the PS5. You've probably seen other game hunting channels like RJC Media or Pick and Preacher, now known as Keith Courage, pick this game up at GameStop. This is a pretty valuable NIS RPG on the PS5, so if you find it, it's worth grabbing. I paid $36 for this, and it is worth $64. And what's wild, this is the least valuable of the next 2 games, these 3 games, which is crazy. Then there's this one, and this one, to be honest, was the game I was the most excited about because not only did I want a physical copy of this game, for a while, I wanted this version. And like Doom the Dark Ages, pretty much after it came out, it was impossible to find the premium edition anywhere. I roll up to GameStop. Not only do they have the premium edition, it's the same price as a regular edition because GameStop doesn't charge more for extra special editions for the most part. But the last part is that I checked the code because the code was still in the case. The code worked. So I got a complete copy of Indiana Jones and the Great Circle, the premium edition, on the Xbox Series X. Can't be happier. I really, really wanted this, and I can't believe I found one. But here's the crazy part. I paid $58. This is worth $93 in complete form. This game really has not lost much value. But then we come to this one. Because I know other games in this franchise are worth a decent amount of money, I looked it up. As soon as I looked it up, I was not going to put that case down. And it scared me because GameStop had a lot of trouble tracking down the disc for this. They did find it, thankfully, but man, this was a score. The Legend of Heroes Trails to Azure on the PS4. It's another Trails game. It is only missing the digital code for the soundtrack. Everything else is in here. It's complete. Okay? I only paid, I think it was like $40 for this. I paid $43 for this. It's worth $120. Yeah. This was a massive score. So, needless to say, if you are at GameStop and you find any Trails games, it's probably a good idea to track them down or to at least look them up to see what they're worth if you're a reseller or if you're just a collector. Because, I mean, those 3 games by themselves, like, they were worth well more than double what I paid for them, which is absolutely insane, just buying them at GameStop. What's also wild, they had other Trails games. They had Trails from Zero, which I already have. They had Trails of Cold Steel 1 and 2 on the PS4, which I would have grabbed, but they were loose disc copies. They had generic GameStop cases. If they were complete, I probably would have grabbed those too, because I know those have some really good value. I have them already, but I would probably either trade them in or sell them, or not trade them in, but I would sell them probably to somebody or trade them. But yeah, needless to say, we did very well. We had a very, very crazy week. Those 3 games at the end by themselves make the week all worth it. So pretty stunning and awesome week. So that's going to do it for this episode of the Bargain Game Hunter. Thank you for watching. Hit that subscribe button, click the notification bell. That way you know when new videos drop. And I will see you on the next episode of the Bargain Game Hunter. Bye-bye.